Great.
This is Inside Wisconsin Sports with Trevor and Josh.
On the feet. Williams looking, throwing, and intercepted. Keyshawn Nixon and the Packers will win it.
Josh, I would like fewer heroics. The need for fewer heroics.
Clarification. The
Thank
need
you.
for more or less heroics, yes.
English major.
Yeah.
What's
I
up,
agree.
Wisconsin? Yeah.
A less stressful win would be great.
Can we not just come around in a game and blow out who we need to blow out?
If we did that in this game of all games, can you imagine?
I keep trying to wish it into existence. It's not working. Definitely
Keep trying.
not working.
Keep trying.
You wait till my prediction today.
Oh, boy.
What's up, Wisconsin? Welcome in. Happy Friday inside Wisconsin Sports with Trevor and Josh. Trevor Thomas, Josh Albrecht.
Hi.
Live from the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios and powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Josh, the day has arrived. The morning starts at 9. Ziegler Subaru of Kenosha presents Brat Bowl 3 at the world-famous Brat Stop in Kenosha today, an all-day live event going on from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. 670 The Score will be in enemy territory. Let's not confuse Kenosha with some border thing. It is Kenosha, Wisconsin.
That's correct. We are not a team that puts our players in a different state. We wouldn't consider moving to a different state. No, we have all of our content happen in our state.
Thank you. Remember to bring your new or gently used coats today to donate to Ziegler Subaru of Kenosha's annual coat drive. Let's go, Wisconsin. Brat Bowl 3 today, starting at 9 at the iconic Brat Stop in Kenosha. Brought to you by Ziegler Subaru of Kenosha. For a great experience, visit ZieglerKenoshaSubaru.com and by Siding Unlimited. Visit SidingUnlimited.com for their honest price guarantee. The talking's all but over, Josh.
Yep.
It is time to play some football tomorrow night. Packers, Bears, 7:20. I know I was kind of complaining about the Saturday night thing earlier this week. Now I'm looking forward to it.
What?
I know. Dude,
that was
take
like your
back
morning
Friday?
mind up like 3 days in a
Take
row.
back Friday?
No,
I know.
That's not how it works.
Okay, well, then I'll do it Tuesday.
We give you 1 day.
The division is on the line. A playoff atmosphere is what you should expect. Something to be aware of, and this was interesting yesterday as we catch you up on all things from Wisconsin sports yesterday, and maybe a thing or two. There's an appearance by former Green Bay head coach Mike McCarthy on Pat McAfee on ESPN, and he mentioned our one and only Mason Crosby when it comes to the kicking. It's supposed to be a little windy in Chicago, gusts at game time as high as 25 miles per hour. McCarthy talked about how important the wind can be for the kicking game. I'm going somewhere with this. Here we go.
Talk about the wind for kicking. I thought Mason Crosby was an outstanding kicker for us all my years in Green Bay. And not only the wind, anytime there was the weather, the pattern would be different. Mason, whether it's, during practice or after practice, before practice, him, the snapper and holders, Rob Davis was a big part of that, would go up because they're always wanted to work the different wind because, the big flag, we had the big flags in the north end zone out there in Lambeau and, full pitch flags, 25 mile an hour. So you learn how to read the wind with the density of how the flag's pitched.
This is really important, Josh, because the Packers cannot settle for field goals with or without the wind. So let's say we have to kick. It's going to be windy. Let's take that into consideration. But I'd like that to not be a factor because if we keep blowing it in the red zone, we are not going to win this game.
Yeah, we learned that against Denver, and we talked about Matt LaFleur being aggressive and choosing when to be aggressive. And he's not a Dan Campbell. It's not aggressive every time. Every time he can be, you do it. He picks and chooses. And I think we were talking with either Andy Herman or Matt Schneidman earlier this week about that, how the aggressiveness from Matt LaFleur against the Broncos might not have been when we wanted him to be aggressive.
Mm-hmm.
He needs to be aggressive in these type of situations this week, not only to beat the Bears, but to beat the elements.
The Lions game was an aggressive Matt LaFleur that we haven't seen before, and it paid off. It's probably going to need to pay off tomorrow night. We're not going to be in a situation, I don't think, where we're going to have this massive lead that all we have to do is take our foot off the gas, which I don't like either, by the way, but
Agreed.
I digress. But we have to score touchdowns in the red zone. There's been too many times this season where we'll get down there and we won't be aggressive, and then they're forced to kick a field goal, and that comes back to bite us in the booties.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
The Brewers made zero news yesterday, correct?
Yay.
Okay, good. Wisconsin volleyball made some news last night.
Brutal.
A tough loss.
Yeah.
Number 3 Wisconsin goes down to number 1 Kentucky. I know we talked a lot about this week, and rightfully so. I absolutely loved the interview that you set up, Josh, yesterday with John Audius.
Yeah.
It was so cool to see volleyball, Badger volleyball, through the lens of the guy that calls the plays. And last night, there was a lot of plays to call. And the way Wisconsin volleyball started out, their first set was 25-12.
Which does not happen as you saw the rest of the sets. Like, that was an anomaly.
22-25 to Kentucky for set 2. Badgers come back 25-21. And then we go back the other way with Kentucky. And that fourth set was telling. It went 24-26. Remember, you got to win by 2.
Yep.
And it was the overtime setting that John talked to us about yesterday, extra points. And then game 5. Set 5.
Oof.
We got to get up to 15. You only got to win by 2. It was 14-13 match point. Kentucky takes it, and the Badgers go down. Man.
Well, and in that last set too, I mean, Kentucky came out to a huge lead in that, and then the Badgers clawed back. But if you've never watched volleyball before, you know that's the intensity and just the edge of your seat that I've come to expect when I'm watching, playoff girls volleyball from the Badgers. It's intense the entire time. I'm like freaking out at 10:30 at night going, oh my God. Okay. okay. We're still alive. I mean, it's nuts.
You might be surprised to hear, Josh, that I'm not much of a multitasker. I know.
That's strange.
Shocker.
Yeah.
Especially during Badgers volleyball. Badgers volleyball is intense.
Yeah.
And every single time the ball goes in the air, a point will be scored. And I'm doing some audio work last night. It's on in the background. And I stood no chance of multitasking. So I closed thy laptop and just said, we're going to need to focus on this. Because this is intense. A blast.
Feel bad for them with the loss, but still a great season. Still, amazing to see the championship caliber run that Kelly Sheffield and this team continue to go on over his career.
Hopefully we can catch up with Kelly Sheffield, head coach Kelly Sheffield, at some point in the next few weeks, just to check in. He's got one NCAA title. They've been to the Final Four a number of times, but for some reason, it's super difficult. For some reason, it's the Final Four.
Yeah, for some weird reason. Getting past the best teams in the nation is weird.
It's been difficult for them, but nonetheless, something to celebrate. It's not every year that a Badger sports team makes it to the Final Four. I don't think it's going to be the last for a Badger sports team this year. And no, I'm not talking about basketball. Hockey. Killing it in the hockey.
That's true.
The Bucks not killing it. Raptors 111, Bucks 105. As if the game mattered, Josh, because yesterday
sure didn't.
Giannis got in front of a microphone for about 23 minutes. Mr. Bucks, what'd we learn?
Well, we learned nothing.
Okay.
Which, if we thought otherwise, shame on you, because that's how it's been this whole time. Everyone was like, okay, Giannis is finally here. He's going to talk. He was asked about the comments that came out after his injury, about him being unhappy and his agent getting involved and talking to the team. And here's what he had to say about that.
My agent is talking to the Bucks about it. He's his own person. He can have any conversation he wants about it. That doesn't, at the end of the day, I don't work for my agent. My agent works for me. And there's going to be conversation that's going to be made between him and the Bucks and him and his other players and him and other teams and other GMs. executives around the league. It's something that we can't control. But at the end of the day, I personally have not had the conversation with the Bucks. I'm still locked in on my teammates. Most importantly, locked in on me getting back healthy, and then locked in on my teammates and how can I help them from the sideline or encourage them to, be able to play free.
Okay. So let's stop right there for a second. So first, I mean, yes, absolutely. You can't say my agent works for me, I don't work for my agent, and then say that I can't control it.
Right. Okay. Good catch.
Can't do that as like a boss to an employee, essentially, right? That's what it is. You're paying him. That is what you get to do. That is actually your role. Is
literally
to tell him what
the
to
person that signs the checks gets to dictate what the job is.
Which is why, and this is total Giannis Homer, Josh Albrecht, but when he says he's locked in, he doesn't deal with this stuff during the season. It might legitimately come down to he talks with his agent about what he wants and what he wants his agent to do for him, and then he doesn't deal with it. He legitimately focuses in, even if he's injured, he focuses in on the game, his recovery, his team, all of these things. Okay, that's what I'm hoping is the case. However, then he did go on to talk about how these rumors are affecting his teammates.
Because at the end of the day, it takes a toll on them too, right? Like they're playing game after game after game. Thank God we've had a very good schedule the last couple of weeks, but it takes a toll on them too. Like rumors and that, and in, out, injuries, and lose, win. Like it's hard, right? So, as a leader, but most importantly as a winner, just got to be there for them first.
Okay, this is the first time in all of this where I'm like, nope, Giannis, you're wrong.
No,
I know.
Drop.
You can't do that, right? Up to this point, even through that whole first part that we played that didn't make sense, right? Because you're saying, well, he works for you, so you could tell him to stop. That's still not his responsibility. He's not complaining about it. He's just saying, yeah, this is what my agent's doing. That's not me. I'm not saying anything. It's not a great answer, but it's an answer that works. The second he says, I don't like that this is impacting my teammates, that the rumors, that the in and out and what's going on with me, that's affecting that. Okay, that's hypocritical, Giannis. You can't do that. You can't be mad that that's affecting your teammates, knowing that you could do something about it. I'm not saying through all of this that you have to do something, but you also can't complain that it's affecting others. You can't have both sides. So if Giannis is going to say he hates that the rumors are impacting his team, then you got to be the one to stop it. Otherwise, don't care that it's impacting the team. You can't have both.
You okay?
I hate that that's the truth, but I'm a realist.
You're coming around.
That's as real as it is.
You haven't been much of a realist in regards to this whole Giannis situation for a while.
That's
because
true,
you are Mr. Giannis Antetokounmpo.
Yeah, I love him.
Yep. And look at you.
I mean, that's the truth, though.
Mm-hmm.
That's not about if he's lying or believing the national talking heads more than Giannis and the storylines and where there's smoke, there's fire. That's straight from Giannis saying, I don't like that these rumors are affecting my teammates.
It's certainly
Giannis, that's on you, bud.
It certainly seemed like there was two dudes talking on each side of his shoulder, right? Like, well, my agent's talking to people and he's his own man. But the other guy on the shoulder said, but I pay him. But then the other guy's like, but it's affecting my teammates and I don't like that. And this guy's like, well, then do something about it. Like, dude,
right.
What do you want?
Right.
Nonetheless, there is a piece of this that was funny yesterday, in case you missed this. Giannis came out and said at home, he's there with his kids watching the TV and Giannis is going here and going there. And at the end of the day, he kind of puffed his chest and was like, I'm currently the hottest girl in the room. And that was hilarious.
That's true.
Giannis, do we have it?
Oh, I don't think I have the hottest chick.
Okay.
Sorry.
Nope, all good. All right, where else? What are we doing? The rest of the show, the question today, and I have questions, is what should we expect from this team going into the Bears game? Expectations are disappointments waiting to happen. And that's not how fandom works. We're going to go into this game with some expectations. We'll hear from Xavier McKinney on what he thinks the expectation should be. Plus, Matt LaFleur legitimately came out and said what he thinks it's going to take to win yesterday. But he also did a whole bunch of other talking that made very little sense. And that's the morning mind dump today because Josh is over it.
Yep, I'm done. I'm done.
Good.
I'm very glad that the game is tomorrow. I'm done. I'm done with all of this.
7:25 the other day, we were able to catch up with former Packer defensive end Vonnie Holliday. You guys remember him? He holds the record for the Green Bay Packers in most sacks per game. 5 sacks. Josh, this was crazy. I've been thinking about reaching out to Vonnie somehow to get him in on the Inside Wisconsin podcast. I knew him when I was working in radio in high school. I came up here and had dinner with him, and I hadn't talked to him for 20 years. And then all of a sudden, he shows up in town at a charity/nonprofit event, a luncheon the other day, where the Packers awarded, I think, $1.5 million to something just under 400 nonprofits across the state of Wisconsin and here in Brown County. And Vonnie Holliday was there to be a part of it. So I reached out to the Packers. The Packers set him up for us. We got to chat with him the other day. We'll play that interview back for you at 7:25. And it was so cool, Josh. He remembered and told the story about that game, December 22nd, 2002, when he broke the Packers single game sack record.
That was one of the most fun interviews. I mean, make time to listen to that interview today because he is a hoot. That was a lot of fun.
Yeah. Top 5 Friday. You know, I was supposed to meet up with Vonnie the other night. Guess who ruined that?
Yeah. Who did that?
Doug Gottlieb.
Yeah, he did.
Turd. Jerk. I had to text Vonnie Holliday. I'm like, bud, I'm screwed. And sorry about that. He was probably thinking, wait a minute, you owe me a dinner. Well, I was going to buy him dinner.
Yeah. Now you owe him 2.
All right, 7:45. We're going to debut a new segment today. The Top 5 Friday. Josh and I are going to pick a topic, and we each came up with our own top 5 list. The topic today, what are the top 5 things the Packers need to do and or can't see from the Bears in Saturday night's game in order for us to bring home a W? At 8, Packers, Bears, final thoughts, our predictions, your predictions, and then at 8:20, our guest Andy Herman from the Pack a Day podcast with his thoughts and his predictions before we get to what's up Wisconsin for the weekend, obviously the Packers, other sports, and of course, if you're anything like me, last-minute Christmas shopping. I live for this weekend.
Oh, boy. You're cutting it close, my man.
Buddy, I'm still going to be shopping on Tuesday.
Oh,
I love it. Dude, you don't have raging ADHD without waiting until the last minute on something like this, and that's when I thrive. I will be in the middle of the mall, just loving life.
I know, but the mall isn't what it used to be. It's all, you got to give Amazon time to get it to you.
not that mall. The other mall. The actual mall.
I know, that's what I'm saying. The mall with half the stores closed, and the mall's not popping like it used to be.
Yeah, the mall here in Green Bay is actually pretty decent still.
Is it? That's good.
Yeah. All right, when we come back, we have questions, and we know you do too. The Nicolay Law Fan Talking text line, 414-677-1250. What are your questions? That's coming up next. Reminder, Inside Wisconsin Sports is podcasted wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts. Just go on there, search Inside Wisconsin Sports, hit the follow button, and you can catch every show, every hour, every highlight, whenever it works for you. The podcast, just go online and search Inside Wisconsin Sports. I have questions. That's next. This is Inside Wisconsin Sports, live from the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Hey, make sure to follow us on Twitter at OnAirJosh, at Trevor Thomas IW, at Inside Wisp Sports, and at WI Sports Radio for the network. Plus, we're live on YouTube and Twitter as we speak. If you would like to join us in person.
Yeah, good enough. You can
Good enough, yeah.
It'll feel like it. Nice and homey.
Inside Wisconsin Sports with Trevor and Josh. Time for this morning's segment we call I Have Questions.
When things just don't add up, Trevor and Josh ask the hard questions or just point out how messed up stuff is.
I only have one question. Can you fly this plane and land it? Surely you can't be serious.
Do you view this season as a failure?
You asked me the same question last year.
What's the most important question the Badgers have to answer Saturday?
This is a great question. Oh my God, this is a great question.
It's time for I Have Questions on Inside Wisconsin Sports with Trevor and Josh.
The Nicolay Law Fan Talk and Text Line, 414-677-1250. What are burning questions you have that we need to answer today? Get them in, ask us, or answer our question, because we don't really know what the answer is, frankly.
And it's frustrating me.
So what should we expect from this team, this coaching staff, going into the Bears game this weekend? And listen, expectations are disappointments waiting to happen. So the word expect is like aggressive, right? Well, this is what I expected you to do.
But it's also a key point in being a sports fan. It's completely natural to set expectations for your sports teams. You go into it going, I think we really got a shot this year. This team's in a rebuild mode. You set expectations as fans. So that is, I guess, why a lot of sports ends in disappointment, because you do set those expectations, but that's a part of it.
It's a love-hate relationship.
It is.
It's a little foggy sometimes, rough around the edges, having a fandom of Wisconsin sports teams when you really never know which team you're going to get. And that's kind of how this weekend's going to go, I think.
Ugh.
I know. I know.
I hate that I have to wait until 7:20 to get that answer.
That's better than Sunday at 7:20.
You're so right.
It's probably where I'm coming around on this, to be honest,
Yeah.
because here we are on a Friday. Matt LaFleur hasn't told us jack you-know-what all week. We'll get to that in the morning mind dump. We heard from some of the players at least, and I like this answer yesterday on the expectation of the defense from Xavier McKinney. Here he says, we're going to have to dig deep.
I think that's what this game is going to be all about. Like, it's going to be about digging deep. Everything is not going to be, easy. It's not going to be simple. Some drives might go longer than expected. It is what it is. It's a part of football. You just got to, continue to play harder. And when things get hard, when you get tired, you got to find a way to push through. And I think that's what we're going to do.
Push through the pain, the cold, the pressure, the changes. That's hard to make an expectation for, but at the end of the day, that was a good answer.
I mean, yeah, I guess. Is that really, though, the same message that we've been hearing from the coaching staff? And this team has been ready. This is what we've been doing. Remember, Hafley came out. He said, we've been playing good defense. We're going to continue to play good defense, even without Micah Parsons. Then you have Xavier McKinney, who we haven't seen making many interceptions this year, although that doesn't mean necessarily he's playing bad ball. Just he hasn't done what he did last year. And he's like, that's going to be tough. It is what it is. We got to dig deep. I'm like, what happened to, we've been playing good defense all year. We're locked in. This
not necessarily reassuring.
Right.
In regards to the old expectations.
It all goes back to consistency, right? The consistency in the messaging from what we hear from the coaching staff to what we hear from the players. Does that match? Does that line up? Or is there a break in the communication?
Well, let's check in with Coach. Hey, Matt, what's it going to take to win this game?
Great focus, concentration, knowing the plan inside and out. I think the guys have done a really nice job over the last 2 days preparing and just knowing what to do. And ultimately, it's going to come down to the execution of that.
Hold on. There's a lot there. There was a lot there. Two key points that I think really do go into this game.
Okay.
The first one, great focus. Buddy, we talked about that in this show a lot yesterday and how the Packers' focus or them being able to control the mental side of the game hasn't exactly been there. And that would lead me to believe that Matt LaFleur addressed that with the team. It's going to take great focus. And you got to know the plan.
And then execute it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah,
he said that they've done a good job of that this week, of knowing the plan and diving into it and so on. But he's also been asked this week of, what's the film review like? Did you review as much as you needed to? And he had a scary answer to that earlier in the week. He talked about how he didn't need to spend as much time on film as he did before because they just played him 2 weeks ago. That made me nervous.
Yes.
Because that film included a fella on defense that we don't have. So I'd like to think somebody spent more time on film this time around than last time, because it's not the same.
Right. Your team changed a little bit, Matt. I don't know if you heard. Everyone's been talking about it. But yeah, that's definitely the time when you watch more film. Also, there have been plenty of times before games this season where Matt has said, we've been great in practice. Everyone's been executing. Everyone's locked in. We're doing what we're doing. This is a big game, blah, blah, blah. And then they go out and they don't execute. And they make those mistakes. And they miss those opportunities. And then Matt goes back to the podium and he goes, well, we had a good week of practice, but we got to try harder. We couldn't execute. We couldn't execute. We got to be better. That's on me. I don't care how it was in practice. I need to see it. I need to see it when it counts.
We're fresh out of time for that response.
You're right.
Fresh out of time.
It's stale. That's a stale
If it's still
response.
on you, I have questions.
Oh, I have answers.
Here's a good question from the 214. With number one out, could it be beneficial that the D may have some unscouted looks this late in the season? Cooper, Walker, it might catch the Bears off guard or by surprise. I think so. We talked about that this week.
Yeah, wishful thinking. I'm hoping that's right. We heard from Hafley, right? We were all locked in. We were amped yesterday after hearing from Hafley say, guys, yeah, this is what we do. We've been preparing for this all season, all off season. This is what we do as a coaching staff. We're going to have our guys ready. We're going to have the playbook ready to go. Trevor, you talked for literally almost every day since Parsons has gone down of blowing the dust off of that playbook that you put together before Micah Parsons arrived. So, yeah, absolutely, 214. We're going to hope that is what exists.
We talked about that earlier in the week in how we believe there's no film with this very defense where they could come out with a different scheme and seriously surprise the Bears.
Now, I did have a point. Brandon Snide, who's on 9 to noon with Rami and Kuhn, did tell me this is off air, but he was like, "What? They'll just go and watch stuff from last season. What's changed? What scheme has changed? What on the team has changed from last year to this year besides Micah Parsons, who's now gone? If they're looking for film, they have it from last season."
Please tell me you nailed him with the facts.
Well, I said, you don't think that they changed anything from last season? You don't think that Jeff Hafley just, as soon as the season ended, went, all right, we don't got to work on anything. I don't have to change anything. The defense is what it is, and we'll just come back out and hope these guys are better?
There was certainly a change from training camp to now, and also from last year to now. And it has everything to do with the Packers being able to stop the run game right up the gut. Because if we're tapping into the old defensive plan that existed in training camp, we talked about that this week. From July to August 27th, the defensive scheme did not include Micah Parsons. But it did include Rashawn Gary, Devontae Wyatt, Kenny Clark, and Lucas Van Ness. Let's go backwards. Lucas Van Ness has been battling an injury all year, and I feel like he's on the edge of re-injuring it all the time. I don't want it to happen, but he seems slightly, he's not 100%. I was going to say he's fragile, but I don't think he's fragile.
No.
I just don't think he's completely cured. Devontae Wyatt, out for the season. Broken ankle. Kenny Clark, he gone because we got Micah Parsons. So he's not in the middle. And then Rashawn Gary, who I've been really pleased to see take on a leadership role with the defense, the way he has, including, unbeknownst to us, pulling the team on the defensive side, specifically in the linebacker and defensive line core, and talking about how they're going to make up for Micah Parsons not being there. But all that to say, those two dudes in the middle aren't there. And I understand that there are big mamma jammas in there that know the plan and know the playbook and will be able to help stop the run. But Brandon, that's not the same thing. And that's where I think it is, at least this is how I'm spinning it in my head. That's to our advantage. Are you a moron? No, I'm trying to make it optimistic.
Yeah, that's an optimistic look. Yeah.
Realism? We're not sure.
I'm not sure. And that's why at 7:00, I got to get things off my chest because it's very difficult out here right now.
Yesterday, we talked about what we believe we could get in terms of trade for Rami.
Yeah.
Right? We talked about trading Rami to the Bears side this weekend because we're kind of sick of all the Bears talk on this radio station that's in Wisconsin.
Yeah, that's still my plan at the Brop Bowl.
Somebody said if you trade Rami, all you're going to get back is a bottle of Malort.
That might be the only thing not worth trading Rami for.
Exactly. Have you had that?
Oh, yes.
God.
It is just pure. It is vomit. It is.
Remember
awful.
when we were young and we were in the bars and one of our buddies bought us a shot of wild turkey?
Yeah.
And we're like, God.
Yeah.
Awful. Ugh. Well, hold my beer, says Malort.
Yeah. I don't think I've had a lot of bad stuff as joke. Oh, here, try this. Isn't that awful? Malort's definitely up there as the worst.
I would like to think that will never be topped because I hope nothing ever tastes that bad ever again. And you'll be shocked to hear I was fairly confident when I had said bottle of Malort in my hand in my buddy Brett Buboltz's backyard. His wife is from Chicago. And I was like, oh, you guys, whatever. It's not that bad. It can't be that bad. So I didn't just take a doop. I grabbed the bottle and went blip, blip.
No.
Not blip, blip, blip. Just a little, swig.
Yeah, more than you should have.
I was not well for about 20 minutes.
Oh, yeah. No, it's
my
terrible.
mouth felt like I had wood chips in it. Like it was. Why do people in Chicago drink that crap?
Yeah, I mean, unless it's like a joke, unless you're like, it's like for bets, right? You literally have something as like, hey, if you lose this bet, you got to drink Malort. Like that's the only reason I can think.
Does anybody across the state of Wisconsin know where this stuff comes from and why it exists? And if you've ever had Malort and liked it, would you please text us? Because we have questions. How do you enjoy whatever is in that bottle? Yucky. There are also some people on the Nicolay Law Fan Talk and text line, Josh, that don't have a lot of confidence in Matt LaFleur. Why do you think that is?
I think that's because of the way he communicates. I think that he has been a better coach in the last 3 or 4 weeks that we've seen, even against Denver, until everything fell apart. But it's the fact that we still don't trust Matt LaFleur. And if we don't trust him in all aspects, whether it's the way that he talks to us or we start doubting the way that he's communicating to the team, we saw Jeff Hafley come out and he talked to the media one time and we went, let's go.
Yeah.
And we don't get that from Matt LaFleur. And that doesn't mean that Matt's a bad coach, but it adds doubt and it adds questions.
It's very easy to connect the dots of the way he speaks and the way he coaches. I'm no philosopher. I'm just watching the way he coaches and then what he has in terms of answers, and I can't help but go, duh.
Yeah.
That's what I expect.
Yeah.
All of that to say, the NFC, by the way, the Bears are not the problem.
No.
It turns out. Last night's Rams-Seahawks game, and to think that the Packers are in a spot to chase them and beat them, I don't know if you guys watched that last night. That's a different level of football.
It was super exciting. And that game, that was playoff atmosphere.
Mm-hmm.
That had everything, including one of the most controversial calls that if that call that we're going to play in the most electrifying sound, if that happened in Packers Bears, it would be talked about every day, every hour for a month.
The most electrifying sound is next. Inside Wisconsin Sports with Trevor and Josh, live from the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Stay here. Good morning to the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network across the state of Wisconsin. What is up in Duluth Superior on 710 The Game? 99.7 FM WNFL here in Green Bay in the Fox Valley where I am. 105.7 and 1250 AM The Fan in Milwaukee. That's where Josh is, the home of the WI Sports Radio. And 93.9 The Game in Wausau. Colder this morning across the state of Wisconsin than it was yesterday.
Sure is.
Hope you enjoyed spring. Winter's back.
Yep, made everything look muddy and bleh.
I am grateful for the quick dusting of snow we got here in Green Bay last night because it covered up all that crap.
Yeah, we didn't get that.
Ugh, ugly.
Didn't like it.
All right, time for the most electrifying sound of the day. Here we go.
It's time for
The most electrifying.
sound of the day
The most electrifying.
on Inside Wisconsin Sports with Trevor and Josh. Brought to you by Best Electric. Learn more at bestelect.com. Don't stress. Connect with the best.
Does it go that way? 3 receivers to the left. Quick throw here and into a lot of traffic and incomplete. Man, there was a whole traffic jam on the left side.
Ruling on the field of completed. Incomplete is under further review.
Well,
that last shot we showed from overhead, It's clearly backward. Even if it was parallel, that would be considered backward. So if we look at that overhead shot again, he releases it, and it clearly goes backward to the point of first touching.
Reviewing the play, the quarterback threw a backward pass, which was recovered in the end zone by the offense. It is a successful conversion.
that is the craziest ever.
Craziest ever. Great shot.
The craziest ever, the most electrifying sound of the day, brought to you by our friends at Best Electric. Remember, no job is too big or too small for Best Electric. Don't stress, connect with the best. Call them today or visit bestelect.com. So in a very, very important game for the NFC West and just the NFC in general, you have the Rams that are up 2 points on the Seahawks with 6 minutes left in the fourth. And on that play that we just played, it's a 2-point conversion. The Seahawks throw a pass that is backwards. It ends up hitting off of a Rams player's helmet, bounces into the end zone. They blow the whistle. Seahawks player picks it up while it's in the end zone. They go to review it, and they determine it was a backwards pass. It's a fumble, live ball, and it was picked up by the offense. 2-point conversion is good. Tie game 30-30. Huge controversial call in like one of the biggest, if not biggest games of the NFL season.
Whoa.
Yeah.
I don't quite understand what you can challenge and what you can't.
It wasn't a challenge. It was, I believe it was just a.
I thought it said after further review.
Yes, but I don't know that it was a red flag challenge. It might have been from the booth of just
oh my God,
a review, like the play is under review because it's a scoring play, I assume. I'm not positive on that, but it was nuts. And the reason why this is vital is because all of these are things like this are happening in monster games. And then you look forward to you look at the Packers situation. If the Packers were in this, and we've had our fair share of these type of plays, the Fail Mary, also with the Seahawks, so it's kind of ironic, but just an absolutely crazy play. And then you have a lot of people online chiming in going, I thought that on a 2-point conversion, the offense couldn't move the ball forward if it was a fumble on a backwards pass. I don't know. I don't understand the rules enough to know what is. I do know that you could clearly hear the whistle being blown by a referee that usually signals that a play is dead. And then
so you said they blew the whistle.
They blew the whistle.
How is that review? See, that's what I'm saying. I don't know what's reviewable. I don't know what's not. I don't know what. A friend from our past despises this replay crap.
Yes.
And now I'm starting to understand why.
It definitely has its moments where you go, he might be right. But it's this one is just so big because it allowed the game to get tied. And then it allowed for this amazing finish that the Rams they score a touchdown. Then the Seahawks score a touchdown with no time left, and they do the 2-point conversion in overtime. That's in overtime. They're doing it. I shouldn't say any time left, but so they do another 2-point conversion. They win 38-37. Amazing game. A great showing of two elite teams that if the Packers go on a run, they still need to be aware of. But for that type of game, to have this type of a big pivotal play, that I'm still confused this morning on if it was the right call, the wrong call, how it was called. Just, it definitely seemed like the fact that it happened in Seattle might have helped make that decision. Because if that call was made in LA, I don't think it happens.
The one thing we do know, the NFC West is something.
Oh, yeah.
Seattle's the first seed at the moment based on last night. Los Angeles goes to the 5th seed. San Francisco is the 6th seed.
Yeah.
Woof.
And they are, in my opinion, the 3 best teams right now in the NFC.
Yeah.
1, 2, 3.
That's what I'm saying. We're going to have to do some things different if we're going to go up one against those teams. And those GD 49ers always seem to have our ticket.
I know.
In the playoffs.
And the worst part, we can't even worry about them right now.
Exactly. It's Bears weekend. It's hard not to look at the playoff predictor because it's kind of fun to dink around with, if you will.
Yeah.
I just don't understand if the Packers indeed make the playoffs, how we don't play the Bears in the first round. I have tried.
No, we do.
I know.
Yeah.
I'm saying, how don't we?
We can't.
Literally impossible?
I don't know that's literally impossible, but like I feel like a lot of things have to go wrong. Maybe the 49ers have to completely fall apart. I really don't.
Well, that's what I'm playing with. Like, let's figure out a way to beat the Bears this weekend and then not play them in the playoffs, at least the first round. Because God knows we're not going to watch the tape.
Yeah. Don't need to watch the tape. Right, Coach?
Woo. All right, so coming up next in the morning mind dump, 414-677-1250, the Nicolay Law Fan Talk and Text line. We haven't seen Josh check his heart rate in a while. We might be there today, which is really exciting for me, frankly, because I miss it. It's a good time for all of us. Maybe not so much him, but you know what? That's the entertainment business, buddy.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's not about you.
Thanks a lot, LaFleur.
Emotional frustration from Josh in regard to one head coach of the Green Bay Packers who is unwilling at this point to answer many questions, if any. And when he does, it is confusing. We have a bit of a mashup put together to show you exactly what we're talking about. And all of these answers, by the way, let's just preface this. All of these answers are from yesterday's press conference. Just yesterday, not the week, just yesterday. Stick around. The Morning Mind Up is next. This is Inside Wisconsin Sports with Trevor and Josh, live from the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. I am an eternal optimist. So please, God, don't God that you're an eternal pessimist.
I like to say I'm a realist.
Oh, it's great. We're going to go along great. This is going to be great.
This is Inside Wisconsin Sports with Trevor and Josh.
Crowd is here about
On the fake. Williams looking, throwing, and intercepted. Keyshawn Nixon of the Packers will win it.
I'd like to think I'm not the only one that says, can it not come down to the final play, please?
But if it has to,
that would be the one we want.
For a Packers dub.
That's the one we want. Keyshawn Nixon with the interception. We all know that from a few weeks back. That helped the Packers keep the Bears with fewer points. Which, by the way, that's the key to the game. My father-in-law texted me. He said, hey, I've got a top 5. Just a heads up. Want to let you know. Here are the important keys to the game.
Oh, boy.
The offense needs to score as many points as possible. And the defense needs to give up the least amount of points as possible.
Well said.
To which I was like, hey, coach, thanks.
Yeah. I don't know where I heard that before.
Yeah. What's up, Wisconsin? Welcome back. Welcome in. And good morning and happy Friday. We are Inside Wisconsin Sports. Trevor Thomas, Josh Albrecht.
Hi.
We're live from the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. But it's my understanding we are the only two that are live from those studios today, because in a mere 2 hours, here we go. The morning starts at 9. Ziegler Subaru of Kenosha presents Brat Bowl 3 at the world-famous Brat Stop in Kenosha. For those that are unaware, our sister station, it's a stepsister situation. At 670 The Score, we'll be in Wisconsin. That's the home of the Bears in Chicago. And us here at the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network will be in the same room. And if not the same room, the same building. Certainly within eye and ear and mouth contact. This isn't like we're all working from the same table thing, but it's pretty close. And the Brat Bowl is just that. It's where we, I don't know. What do we do? Do we chuck brats at each other? Like, why is it called the Brat Bowl, Josh? Any idea?
Because this is my first Brat Bowl that I'm going to be attending, but it's at the Brat Stop, and it's, you get to eat some brats, have some food, hang out, have a good time, and then hang out just by our booth, and then boo 670 The Scores booth, and then anyone that wants to help me negotiate the trade for Rami can do that as well.
Yeah, we were going to try to trade Rami
to
Chicago. Well, because we haven't gotten any offers that are legitimate.
Well,
somebody offered a bottle. Somebody offered a bottle of Malort.
Yeah,
not happening.
Yeah, that's the only bad trade I've heard so far, though.
Somebody else texted in on the Nicolay Law Fan Talk and Text line and said Malort tastes like microwave grapefruit juice.
Yeah,
that's so true. I don't even know what that tastes like, but that's a good analogy. The Brat Stop, the Brat Bowl. I understand it's all about this game. I just can't believe we're letting them over the border. That's what I don't understand. Make sure to bring your new or gently used coats today to donate to Ziegler Subaru of Kenosha's annual coat drive. It is Brat Bowl 3, starting at 9 at the iconic Brat Stop in Kenosha. Brought to you by Ziegler Subaru of Kenosha. For a great experience, visit ZieglerKenoshaSubaru.com. And by Siding Unlimited. Visit sidingunlimited.com for their honest price guarantee. Time for the morning mind dump.
I hear voices in my head. They counsel me. They understand. They talk to me.
The coffee is kicked in. We're awake and ready to roll. Let's get some things off our chest and out of our heads.
You don't know what it's like to be me out here for you. It is an up at dawn, pride-swallowing siege that I will never fully tell you about, okay?
I'm as mad as hell, and I'm not going to take this anymore.
I'm in a glass case of emotion.
What we've got here is failure to communicate.
We got no food. We got no jobs. Our pets' heads are falling off.
It's time for the Morning Mind Dump on Inside Wisconsin Sports with Trevor and Josh.
The Nicolay Law fan talk and text line, 414-677-1250. I swear you guys are psychic because a lot of the things that are frustrating many of you are beyond frustrating our boy, Josh.
Yeah, I'm done.
So what are you done with? Obviously, I think I have a pretty good idea what you're done with, but will you please explain where your biggest frustrations come from and why? Because I think we have some pretty good examples that we're going to be able to connect some dots on.
Yeah. So first, okay. All right. Here we go. Okay. So first, this all started.
Wait, pause. If you're not watching this on YouTube or Twitter, you're screwing up.
Okay. This all started not even from LaFleur. This is our fault, which makes it even more frustrating. When I say our fault, I mean the fans' fault because we all focused on the Bears the whole week leading up to the Broncos. And even as we were trying to focus on the Broncos, we're focusing on the Bears. We're either celebrating beating the Bears or then we're talking about, but then we got to face them again in 2 weeks. We're completely ignoring the Broncos game. Okay. As much, I don't care if you're out there and you're saying, well, I didn't. I was worried about the Broncos. No, you weren't. Your conversation still turned to the Bears. We tried on this show to have it not do that, and we couldn't. We couldn't have it not turn back to the Bears. Then the whole season falls apart against the Broncos in a game that no one wanted to focus on. Then the whole thing falls apart. Now here we are. We're back against the Bears. And do we get to continue these conversations that we were having this? Oh, well, we beat them before. And now we put ourselves in a great position because we beat the Broncos. And now we're going into Chicago and we can lock this thing up. And the rest of the season after the Bears won't even matter. No, we don't get to do any of that. We have to focus on injuries. Because the whole team gets injured in Denver, the whole team. And so now, instead of focusing on the Bears and what the plan is going to be to beat the Bears, we got to focus on the injuries. But do we get any help from Matt LaFleur? No, nothing. The whole week, it has been, well, we'll wait and see. Well, I don't know. Well, the Bears are a tough team. These are the responses. This has been the most frustrating week because it's felt like 3 weeks, first of all, leading up to one game. And then I get nothing. I have nothing to help my fandom go, okay, I'm ready. I know what to expect. I'm prepared for this. I have no idea. And it's tomorrow. It's happening tomorrow. And I still have no idea. Why?
Welcome back. Oh, check your heart rate. What is that? Right now. Look at breathe.
It has 2 lines.
Okay, good. Well, at least they're not flat lines. That's all that matters.
It's not telling me anything.
Okay, good. You okay? Are you breathing?
Yeah, I'm breathing.
Check your pulse.
I'm fine.
Okay. I don't know if you're fine. We're going to give you guys some examples as to what Josh is all fired up about this morning. This is just from yesterday.
Yeah. Oh.
Now, hear us out on this. And it's going to be hard for you to hear. We're going to probably play it a couple times. And there are a number of these things that we're going to have to go through. Bear with us.
Mm-hmm.
And then do you share these frustrations or is it really just us? 414-677-1250, the Nicolay Law fan talking text line. Matt LaFleur hasn't given us much this week. We are hoping yesterday or maybe today he'll give us more. But here's what it sounded like yesterday. So first question, Matt, what'd you think of Christian Watson in practice?
Encouraging.
Sorry, did you guys miss that?
Encouraging.
There you go.
Encouraging. And then he sat there in silence for a second. And it was like, you're not going to tell us more, are you? Nope, that's it. Just encouraging. The answer was so fast in the press conference that their audio guy didn't have time to turn down the mic from the reporters and allow Matt LaFleur to answer the question. That's what you hear at the beginning of that. Play it again. Encouraging.
Yeah, his mic turns on it like encouraging.
Encouraging.
All right. Well, props to Bill Huber, who came up next and said, well, what makes it encouraging, or what are you encouraged about?
Or answer the question.
What should we, like, what's next? And he says,
means we'll give them up to game time.
We're going to give them up to game time.
We're
going to give them up to game time.
To what?
For Christian Watson. We're going to give him up to game time. What are you encouraged about?
To What? To play at all? To be a part of the team? To be a
figure it
full
out.
participant?
To have his injury figured out, whatever it is. Well, ultimately, Matt, what's going to allow him to play the game? Can you tell us that?
Ultimately, it's going to come down to just obviously medical decision, but where he's at on Saturday.
Hey, at least I'm thankful at that point that his answer was at least more than 4 seconds. Still didn't tell me anything, but at least it was more than 4 seconds.
Well, we'll go back to a 4-second answer then, shall we? Jacobs, Tom, are they going to be practicing today, Matt?
They will not.
I'm sorry, what was that? I couldn't even hear it because the microphone.
They will not.
They will not. Just letting you know, they will not be practicing. Is anybody, I feel bad for these beat guys.
Yeah, well, but it's a good logical next question, right? Okay, they're not practicing today. Time's running out. Are we going to rule anyone out?
Here we go.
Yeah, there will be a couple guys that will end up ruling out here. I'm anticipating after practice, which that'll be then.
That'll be then.
Oh my God.
Which that'll be then. Okay. So wait, at least share with us what your thoughts are on what the atmosphere is going to be like. Please, God, what's it like?
I think it's going to be electric. I'm sure they're going to have the big baritone national anthem guy out there and piping it away. I think it's going to be an unbelievable atmosphere. I think it's playoff football atmosphere, so it'll be fun.
I forgot about the baritone guy. I forgot. You guys know who we're talking about?
No, I don't.
The Bears / Blackhawks. Maybe he's saying for baseball. I'm not sure, but they have a guy that comes out and just barrels the national anthem to the point where the crowd, you might recall, cheers through the whole thing. Here's what the end of his national anthem sounds like. Let's just prepare ourselves for this. For the land of the free. Fly by. Just prepare yourself for that.
I mean, I don't know. That's pretty cool.
It's really cool, but that's what Matt LaFleur talked about in terms of the atmosphere. That's my problem. If I may morning mind dump for a moment. Play that clip again, will you please, Josh?
Which one?
About the playoff atmosphere that Matt thinks is going to happen in the game tomorrow night.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be electric. I'm sure they're going to have the big baritone national anthem guy out there and piping it away. I think it's going to be an unbelievable atmosphere. I think it's playoff football atmosphere, so it'll be fun.
You know what that sounds like to me? The Bears have home field advantage.
Yeah.
Because the only thing that Matt said about the atmosphere of the game was what the Bears side of the football is going to bring to the game. Not the Packers, not specifically the atmosphere he's going to drive with his team, but instead about all of the things that have nothing to do with his team. And it doesn't surprise me that that's his answer. Obviously, this is a playoff atmosphere. Obviously, that they have that dude that barrels the national anthem and the crowd's going to go crazy and it's going to be electric. Help me know how you're going to feed off of that. That's an answer I'm looking for. Listen, we know at this point that Matt LaFleur isn't going to tip his hand on any of these injuries. What'd you think of Christian Watson? I was encouraged. Well, how long is he going to have to figure it out? Till game time. Got it. Well, ultimately, how are you going to decide? Medically. Okay. Jacobs, Tom? Nope. Anybody ruled out? Probably. That's it.
Yeah.
Is that not the most Bill Belichick crap ever?
And here's the thing that's frustrating, because then that's what tips me into pessimism. If you're not giving me anything, then I'm assuming the worst. It's hard for me to go, yeah, well, Matt's probably got all these guys that are going to play, and this team's going to be exactly who we need them to be, even if they're a little banged up against the Bears. When you give me answers like that on Thursday, and the game is in 48 hours, I'm going, all right, so realistically, all three aren't playing. That's what I'm telling myself. And I have to tell myself something because you're not telling me anything.
Well, the 414 has a fairly decent combatant answer to how fired up you are this morning, Josh. He says, calm down. If you don't know what that means, the Bears don't know. And that's good. He can answer questions after the game. Calm down, man.
No. First of all, don't tell me how to fan. Second of all, this is not me saying, hey, lay out the whole playbook. Okay? It's, hey, why don't you give me more than one word throughout the whole week on how these guys are doing, where they're at, where this team is at. Also, this idea of the Bears not knowing. You think it's really that difficult for the Bears? This is the first time in the history of football where a team has had to plan or prepare for a player to maybe be there or not be there. Yeah, it's not like the Bears are going to go, oh, no, Watson is playing? We weren't ready for that at all. I had no idea. That's not what's going to happen. I promise you. They're scheming for both, and they're going, all right, Watson's in, flip the play card. That's it.
My favorite part of the press conference yesterday, Matt came out and said that he doesn't like to break news. And then he was quiet. And Rob Domofsky goes, well, we're trying. Just like that. Did you see what somebody thinks 2 lines means on your old watch there?
Yeah, my heart is pregnant.
Yeah.
That's cute.
Josh yelling and overacting is just the best. Thanks for that.
I'm glad you enjoy it.
Here's a good question as we wrap up the morning mind dump and head to our conversation with former Packer defensive end Vonnie Holliday. Vonnie holds the Packers record for most sacks in a game. He joined us for a chat earlier this week. We're going to play back for you guys about what that game meant to him, why it was so intense and emotional, and ultimately what he was doing here in Green Bay to help serve our community. Vonnie Holliday joins us next. But real quick, on our way out here, Josh, why do you think, according to the 239 here, why do you think it's important for you to know?
Oh, it's not. I'm not important. I know that. I'm not important. That doesn't mean it's not frustrating. And it's even more frustrating because it's been in this game that's been talked about for 3 weeks. And so the focus and everything else that I as a fan and we as a sports talk show have been talking about is all the timelines off. Everything's off. And everything that we should be talking about the rivalry again and how big this game and what does this game do not just for the season but for the outlook on the Packers Bears going forward. None of that because of Micah Parsons going down and the uncertainty around the rest of these players in this game against the Bears. That's going to mean something. That's going to mean a lot of things. And I'm getting nothing. And that's very frustrating. That's very frustrating.
Well, we'll see what he says today, later on, and then it's game time. 7:20 tomorrow night, Packers Bears, Fox. We can't get there fast enough. Stick around. Our chat with Vonnie Holliday was fantastic. You guys will really enjoy this. We are inside Wisconsin Sports with Trevor and Josh, live from the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. We are back inside Wisconsin sports. Trevor Thomas, Josh Albrecht, and a longtime buddy of mine, only I don't think he's known it for about 20 years. That's the last time we saw each other. Vonnie Holliday, former Green Bay Packer defensive end. And if you don't know it, Vonnie holds the record for most sacks in one game. I was in attendance, man. December 22nd, 2002. Vonnie Holliday. Good to see you, brother.
Josh, Trevor, a pleasure to be here, man. What way? Crazy memories, man. 5 sacks. I can't believe it haven't been broken. So many great Packer players have come through here since then, and it's hard to believe that record still stands.
Josh and I were both hoping, with all due respect, that Micah Parsons was going to break it this year.
Yeah.
But there that went. So
there might have been a few sleeper holds involved that have stopped Micah from getting there, but that's a story for another day.
It really is.
Let's catch up with what you're doing now. Why are you in town? What's your awesome alumni shirt all about? There's something called the Packers Foundation Grant Luncheon that you are a part of, where the Packers awarded $1.5 million in grants to almost 400 nonprofits. So why did you choose to be involved with this piece?
It was just I'm not saying by chance, because nothing is by chance, but I got a call back from the Packer Foundation and Kathy and Nate over in the offices, who have been my bridge to the Packers as of late, and asked me to come back for it. And it was something that I could not say no to. I'm a product of charitable organizations and charitable efforts and just community, and it stands for everything that I'm about. And so I had to come back. I cleared my schedule, came back in, and it was a great luncheon filled with tremendously just good people who are doing some great things. They're the building blocks of these communities. And I am the man that I am today because of the type of people that were sitting in that room and the efforts that they take day in and day out, the thankless jobs that they do day in and day out. And it's like pulling teeth. And I know that this luncheon provides, just an opportunity for them to be appreciated and hopefully to breathe new life back into them so they can go back out and do a job that is a tough job to do. Not only just because of what they're faced with day to day, but just the resources that are needed to do their job. And so, especially in today's climate, when resources are hard to come by and people are struggling day to day, it makes their work so much harder, but at the same time, so much more rewarding.
Yeah, I mean, there are a lot of things that you just said that, first of all, are awesome, and thank you for doing that. But also, on a more fun level, you can make a comparison to this current Green Bay Packers team and just how important it is to have those pieces all working together and everyone doing their part. Well, this Packers team right now, Vonnie, they're looking for everyone to step up and do their part. Can you talk a little bit just about, as a former player and now watching this team, kind of what you see and what this team needs to kind of rally behind to find success through these last 3 games?
Well, I mean, anytime you have a dynamic player like Micah go down, that's huge. We were, blessed and fortunate that, Ed and those guys were able to work their magic behind the scenes and get him here, first of all. But we're back to the team that we were going into the season, right? And then that team was projected to finish possibly 13-3 and compete for the division and the Super Bowl. And so that hasn't changed. Would it be nice to have Mike? No doubt about it. That's a player that's hard to replace, but we have the pieces of the puzzle. We have enough young guys in that room that we're just going to have to do it like we were planning to do from the beginning. And that's by committee. Guys are going to have to step up. And that's the great thing about football. It is the ultimate team sport. And we need our young guys to step up by committee and get it done. And I have full faith in that. Yeah, Love's going to have to step up. There's less room for error when you have a guy like Micah missing. But it also helps that Watson's not as his injury's not as significant as they initially thought. And he's going to be back. That would have been a major blow. But offensively, we're going to have to pick it up and lean on our offense. And then defensively, it's probably going to take a little time, hopefully not a whole lot of time. It also helps that we are going to play the Bears because, as the old saying goes, the Bears still suck. But looking forward to that game. And we're going to Chicago. It's not Soldier Field, but that place used to feel like home to me because we didn't lose there.
Yeah, let's go. Juice, as if it needed more juice. Former Packers defensive end Vonnie Holliday joining us on Inside Wisconsin Sports on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network guest hotline, by the way, powered by Gruber Law. One call, that's all. I love that you said the word we because it never leaves you. Once you wear the green and gold, it's always we, and it will always be we. Yet you made some waves when you left Green Bay. I mean, Kansas City, Miami, Denver, Washington, Arizona, proud of you. And awesome that you did that, but we don't care. We just want to talk about your time with the Packers. So,
yeah. Well, hey, the great thing about it, once a Packer, always a Packer. And people never forget. These fans are unbelievable. You know, like we talked about, I was drafted in 98, left here in 2003 and signed with the Kansas City Chiefs. And even as an opponent coming back in, the way I was received by the fans here, my teammates, they didn't understand it. They're like, what the hell did you do to these people? I mean, this is crazy that they're still cheering for you and they're still having good things to say about you and just complimenting me as a player. I'm like, you will never understand unless you are a Packer.
I was going to say, so you just said how when you went down to Chicago, it never really felt like a road game because it was just the time of you beat the Bears. Have you now watching, not playing, do you still feel like that's still the case? Or is this year different? Is this Bears team different? Because a lot of people have said, as much as I don't want to admit it, Caleb Williams, this team, they still might not be better than the Packers, but they're not the same old Bears.
All I know is the last game we won. So until they change that, they're the same old Bears.
That's what
I do know. Yeah, that's what I do know. I watched the game, and it was some exciting parts to it. And I played some exciting game against the Bears, but at the end of the day, we win, and that's all that matters.
Hey, man, you look pretty good. Are you sure you can't, fill in on the defensive end spot?
I was going to say.
It's pretty funny. As I was flying in the other night for this event that happened, some people on the plane, recognized, which I was surprised with the hair and stuff now because I was bald for the past 20 plus years, and we'll get into that in a minute.
Teach me your way.
Because but they were asking me, was I coming back to work out or play? And I'm like, in my head, like, what the hell? I just turned 50 on Thursday. This is not what's my guy's name that just came back to the Colts? Phillip Rivers. This is not a Phillip Rivers moment. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Oh, come on. Why not? Rivers did it. You can do it.
Hey, I have a great time. I like to work out. In the off season, I'm training a lot of guys. I have probably 15 to 25 guys that come through Atlanta. Kingsley of the Packers being one of them, who I expect fully to step up and represent in this, since Mike is down. But that's about the extent of it. I mean, I look at how fast, how big, how explosive these guys are nowadays, and I often sit watching games like, how the hell did I do that for 15 years? And then luckily still feel the way that I do, because the game has changed, and as much as I would love to suit up again, I'd be carted off after one play.
All right, so take us back to the game that we kind of talked about right at the beginning. December 22nd, 2002. Rare is the time when a defensive end or anybody on defense is invited into the auditorium to do an interview. And I remember that vividly, that you got to speak to the media because you set the Packers' all-time record for most sacks in one game against Buffalo. How was that? Take us back to that.
It was a very emotional game. I don't know if you remember, but the night before that game, I had probably about 15 family members in town, 13 of which were 16 and under. And one of their peers, my first cousin Marcus, passed away. He didn't make the trip that he normally makes because he had a basketball tournament. And so he actually had a heart condition that he passed out on the court and just never regained consciousness. And so I had to break that news to 13 of his closest family members, cousins, and peers. And it was so overwhelming that I remember I called up to Coach Jethro Franklin, was the defensive line coach, and I think it was Coach Mike Sherman, and said, look, I don't think I can play. I'm overcome with grief. I got all these kids here, and I'm trying to be strong for them, but it's too much. And then we went to bed, and we all woke up the next morning, and we had a conversation, and just said we needed it as a family, as a group, to go play. And the movie Angels in the Outfield probably sums it up the most. Like, I just felt like his presence, his spirit was with me, and the game slowed down. And I would imagine that I compared it to something like with a Michael Jordan or Serena Williams, the greats, right? The Wayne Gretzky's, how they're able to focus and lock in time after time, which I was never able to recapture enough of that. I wish I was. But anyway, how the game slows down and just everything comes into focus and you just get it done. And it was just an amazing game. It was on time for my family and all the people that I love and care about who were a part of that, to bring some joy and some excitement and just honor to one of our loved ones. It still brings chills to have the conversation. And I can feel like and vividly see myself in that moment. And it was just one of those days where everything worked. And I went up and down. It wasn't on one guy. It was up and down. I think I got a sack on everybody on the offensive line. And Reuben Davis, who's a Hall of Fame left guard, being one of them.
I remember that. Now that you bring that up, I do remember that. And I would have never remembered that had you not bring it up. But you're right. You were super emotional after that game. And I can picture the tears streaming down your face in the post-game press conference.
Yes.
That's incredible.
Yes.
How the hell did you regrow your hair?
Hey, I wish I had some cream I could sell you. I probably could get rich right now, but I don't. This is another one of those stories that started out with a not so good moment in my life. My mother was in the hospital at the beginning of the year, the first quarter of the year, and I was up in South Carolina. Atlanta, Georgia's home now. I was up in South Carolina, and my clippers died. And I've been telling my family and friends for years, like, me being bald is a choice. Like, I shaved my head because I got hazed, if you will, in college, and they shaved everybody's head. And the next day on the yard, everybody liked it, and the women loved it. And so I said, hey, low maintenance, easy to do. It's a good look. I'm going to go with it. So for the past 30 years, I've been shaving my head. And once my clippers died, I grew it out, and I had made a bet with my daughter that I could grow hair, and I'll show her one day. And I just stuck with it. And so now it's just for me to rub it in my buddies and my friends' faces, just like you, Trevor, that after 30 years, I can grow hair. Hey, that's a nice full hair. I just want you to know there's no bald spot there.
No, that looks beautiful. That's great. Trevor, you should do the same. This is really funny. You need to understand how funny this is funny, because there was a bet during this last Brewers run where we said instead of like a no shave or where you had to shave, Trevor had to let it grow. And he was afraid that the Brewers were going to go all the way through the World Series because it kept going, and he started wearing hats more and everything because he just hated all of it. And I was like, no, let it go. And he wouldn't. He didn't do it. He was on that path.
Was like, shave it. Get out of it. Get rid of it.
You got that sunroof, that drop top. You can't. It's not even a sunroof. You got a drop top. It's gone.
All right, we promised 15 minutes. We've got about 15 minutes. Real quick, you're ringing bells at Hy-Vee in the Schwabadon because the Bears and the Vikings are in a competition with the Packers to see who can raise the most while we're ringing bells for the Salvation Army. Huh? That's pretty cool.
That is pretty cool. Another great organization, and it's competitive, and the fans are going to come out and going to contribute, and we're going to beat the Bears and the Vikings like we do. That's what's going to happen. So, like we do.
Depending on how long you're in town, I don't know if you remember or not, but I owe you a steak dinner at Prime Quarter. Josh, I think I was 17 years old. I didn't know my ass from a hole in the ground. And I remember calling Vonnie and being like, dude, I'm going to be in town. I don't know if you're available. Vonnie's playing. I'm a kid. And I think we're going to go and grab a steak dinner, right? And so we do this, and the bill comes, and we all look at the NFL guy, and he was like, oh, I'm buying. Okay. So I owe you that one. From
you big time now. You owe me, and it won't be Prime Quarter. I know they have some new fancy big time restaurants around here. You got to do compound interest, so we got to find that spot.
Prime Quarter.
Oh, dude, Vonnie Holiday, really great to catch up with you, man. We'll see you down the road.
Trevor Josh, hey, my pleasure. Appreciate it.
Vonnie Holiday joining us on the Inside Wisconsin Sports and the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network guest hotline, powered by Gruber Law. One call, that's all.
That's so much fun.
God, is that a blast to catch back up with him? I'm telling you, man, I was 17 years old. What
Prime
am
quarter.
I doing?
That's
what am
I was most proud of you about. Prime quarter.
Well, it's where you grill your own, you know?
Yeah. Or you grill Vonnie Holidays.
And then make them buy.
Yeah. Hey, I grill, you buy, right?
I'll get them. I'll get them back. All right, when we come back, new segment, Top 5 Friday. What are the top 5 things that the Packers need to do to win tomorrow night's game? Or what are the top 5 things the Bears can't do in order for us to win tomorrow night? That's when we come back. We are inside Wisconsin Sports with Trevor and Josh, live from the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Steak, please. And inside Wisconsin Sports are we, live from the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Our thanks again to our guy Vonnie Holiday for joining us for a quick chat while he was in town with the Packers and the Packers alumni and the Packers Foundation, who gave out a boatload of money back to our communities here in Wisconsin this week. All right, time for a new segment. We're going to do this every Friday for the rest of time. Josh and I both like alliterations.
Sure do.
Top 5 Friday at 7:45 or Top 5 Friday at 7:25, depending on if we have a guest that fits in that window or not.
Correct.
Nonetheless, today's question, what are the top 5 things that we need to do or the top 5 things that we can't do in order for us to win, us being the Packers, unapologetically we, tomorrow night, 7:20 against the Bears on Fox. Josh, you go first. What are the 5 things that came to mind?
So you want to do this 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 or 1, 2, 3, 4, 5?
Required. You have to work from the bottom up.
Okay.
I learned that in the very first episode of Inside Wisconsin's podcast when John Anderson wanted to do a top 5 list, and I started with number 1, and then I got just blasted for about 20 minutes.
Yeah, he's right. That is the way to do it. Just want to make sure. Okay. Number 5 is no special team mistakes. No points left off the board. No, to where we're letting them bring the ball back to the 20. No huge returns from them. No fumbles from us. No, just special teams doesn't have to have a great game. They have to just no mistakes.
I'll take the over on that. Jeez, I hope that's the case.
Yeah. Number 4, offensive weapons need to show out. So this is we talked about it. The defense isn't going to be as stellar because there isn't Micah Parsons. And so we need to see, Jaden Reed. We don't know about Christian Watson yet either. So we need to see Reed. We need to see Jacobs. We need to see Dobbs, Golden. We need to see these guys all have really, really good games. And honestly, just some of the best games that they in their careers. Like everyone needs to show up there.
Yep.
Number 3, Jordan Love's got to ball out. He's got to have big throws. I don't know exactly how if you don't have that deep threat in Watson, but they got to figure out a way. This can't be a game where Jordan Love has 1 touchdown and then we're relying on Josh Jacobs to score the rest of the points and it can't be low score. Like Jordan Love's got to have at least 3 touchdowns. Like he's got to ball out.
It's got to look like the MVP Jordan Love that was the conversation a mere 2 or 3 weeks ago.
It's still Toyota-thon, in case anyone was wondering. Number 2, the Packers secondary has to step up. So this has been the big one. You're not going to have that pass rush, right? So because you don't have that pass rush in Micah Parsons, the Bears, Caleb Williams, is going to have more time to throw the ball. I want to see a pick from X so badly. Do I want to see an interception from Xavier McKinney in this game? We need a huge play and then consistent play from the secondary. We can't see Keyshawn Nixon getting blown and then talking smack, and that can't be this game. Can't be. They gotta step up. They gotta be good. And then number 1 is just Matt LaFleur. He's got to be aggressive, and it's got to be at the right times. It's got to be the correct Matt LaFleur aggressiveness that has been the special sauce to those big victories against the Lions and the Bears, and what we saw in the beginning against the Broncos. Those are my 5.
I have good news and bad news.
Okay.
The good news is that is the most optimistic top 5 list I have ever heard you give.
Oh.
I understand it's the first one, but all of those were very optimistic.
Okay.
Jordan Love, positive. He's got to play well. Special teams, no screw-ups. We got to play really well. Offensive weapons, show up. What else? LaFleur, we need him to be the coach that he can be, and our secondary needs to have some turnovers. I didn't see this coming, but my top 5 list is very realistic.
Well, my list is realistic. This is
But it was also very optimistic, and I'm just so proud of you.
Well, thank you. But I've said the Packers can beat anybody except the Packers. The Packers can't beat themselves. And if you go through this list, that's if everything that I said, these top 5 happen, it will be because the Packers didn't beat themselves. They didn't let mistakes take advantage of this game.
My top 5 list in a brand new segment we're calling Top 5 Fridays has more to do with what the Packers can't do. So Josh's list is all the things that we have to do. Here are the things in the next segment when we come back that we cannot do. And we want to see your top 5 list too, by the way. The Nicolay Law Fan Talking text line, 414-677-1250. What are the top 5 things that the Packers either have to do or cannot do in order for the Packers to beat the Bears in what will most certainly be a playoff atmosphere at Soldier Field in Chicago? This top 5 idea came up yesterday, Josh. One of our listeners texted in to the Nicolay Law Fan Talking text line, 414-677-1250. I mentioned it just a bit ago, but in the very first Inside Wisconsin podcast, which is just top of mind for me, by the way, because if you missed it, yesterday's Inside Wisconsin podcast was the last one with John Anderson. He just doesn't have the time, being the teacher and professor and, frankly, retired person that he is post Sports Center career. And the podcast goes on. But all the way back to April 1st, 2021, the very first top 5 list John and I ever did together were the top 5 Wisconsin Badger football players. I had the top 5 from the Barry Alvarez era up until that time, 2021, and John had pre-Barry Alvarez era. Yesterday, we had a guest on the show by the name of Joe Thomas.
Yep.
In case you missed it, fairly good at the football.
Yep, he's not bad.
Self-admittedly, I didn't watch a lot of Badger football during the time that he played because my brother was playing for UW Whitewater, and back then UW Whitewater was in the top 4 or the championships games. My brother played in 3 national championship games in a row, which, by the way, shout out, apparently UW River Falls is in the Final 4 this weekend in the NCAA D3 football tournament. They play John Hopkins for a berth to the national championship game tomorrow at 1:00. So I didn't see much Wisconsin football for that very same reason. My brother was a Warhawk. And so the top 5 list came about back in 2021. And I said Joe Thomas was number 5, which was a mistake that I have not lived down since. And literally yesterday on this very Nicolay Law Fan Talking text line, 414-677-1250, somebody texted in and said, well, where's Joe Thomas in your top 5 list? Or I wasn't bring it up again.
Some things don't die. Some things don't go away.
That and other things that come out of my mouth that are stupid every once in a while. Do live radio, they said. What could go wrong?
Everything.
Josh's memory is too good. All right, when we come back, I'll share my top 5 list on a Top 5 Friday, and we want to know yours. What are the 5 things that the Brewers, what are the 5 things that the Packers have to do? I miss baseball. And what are the 5 things the Packers can't do in order for us to beat the Bears tomorrow night in an absolute playoff atmosphere at Soldier Field? We got this. All right, Inside Wisconsin Sports with Trevor and Josh. We're live from the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. I'm an eternal optimist. So please, God, don't tell me that you're an eternal pessimist.
I like to say I'm a realist.
Oh, it's great. We're going to go wrong. Great. This is going to be great.
This is Inside Wisconsin Sports with Trevor and Josh.
On the fake. Williams looking, throwing, it is intercepted. Keyshawn Nixon and the Packers will win it.
Josh, correct me if I'm wrong, but was that the third Bears game in a row that essentially came down to the final play of the game?
Ooh, good question. I think so.
Both games last year ended on a field goal.
Yep.
One got blocked, the other did not.
Correct.
And then this game comes down to maybe not the, quote, final play of the game, but one of the major plays at the end of the game that was essentially the one that put it all together.
Mm-hmm.
How about we don't?
No.
How about we don't?
Right. Unless it guarantees a win. I have to keep saying that. Then I'll take it.
We're inside Wisconsin Sports. Trevor Thomas, Josh Albrecht.
Hi.
We're live from the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook, and now in less than an hour. At 9 a.m., Ziegler Subaru of Kenosha presents Brat Bowl 3 at the world-famous Brat Stop in Kenosha, an all-day live event starting at 9, going till 5. The Wisconsin Sports Radio Network team and the misfits from the land of misfit toys, 670 The Score, will be there together. Holding hands and singing Kumbaya? Not so much. We are looking for new or gently used coats today to donate to the Ziegler Subaru of Kenosha's annual coat drive. And we're also looking for a crowd to make sure that you're so loud that 670 can't even get a word out over their mics.
Yeah, it's just booze.
All booze.
Boo!
Straight booze. Right in their face.
Boo!
Brat Bowl 3 today, starting at 9 a.m. at the iconic Brat Stop in Kenosha, brought to you by Ziegler Subaru of Kenosha. For a great experience, visit ZieglerKenoshaSubaru.com. And by Siding Unlimited, visit SidingUnlimited.com for their honest price guarantee. A new segment, a Top 5 Friday, inspired by a Top 5 list I've been doing on the podcast literally since 2020. April 1st, 21, but we came up with the idea in 2020. Josh just shared the 5 things he thinks the Packers have to do in order to win tomorrow night's game. I have a list of 5 things that the Packers absolutely cannot let happen if indeed we're going to win tomorrow night's game. Number 1, we cannot blow it in the red zone. Can't. Too many games this year, especially against the Broncos. We got down into the red zone territory, and we kick a field goal. And I can't help but recognize that from other games in the Packers season. We're not going to be able to only get 3 points numerous times. I'm not saying field goals won't come into play because we all know they will. But by golly, when we get into the red zone, man, we got to capitalize on that. Number 4, we need to be sure that Jordan Love does not have to scramble. Zach Tom may or may not play, right? So protecting Love is one thing. And I seem to remember the Cowboys having a fairly good game plan against Micah Parsons, where Dak Prescott was able to take a step or 2 or 3 at the most and then get the ball out of his hands. And so if we're going to be pass heavy with a banged up Josh Jacobs, we can't not protect Jordan Love. And may I say that maybe we need to just get the ball out of his hands faster.
It's not a bad thought, and you're definitely right about that.
Number 3, we have to be sure that the Packers stop the Bears' rush, meaning the Packers cannot give the Bears these 2nd and 5 opportunities all night long. We need it to be 3rd and 8 and make Caleb Williams make the throw. We can't not stop their run. No 2nd and 5s. If they get these drives where they're going to be 2nd and 5 or 2nd and 4, which leads to a 3rd and 1, they're going to treat that like 2 downs. That is clear in the NFL this year that the last 2 downs, 3rd and 4th, if it's under a 2-yard gain for a first down And seemingly, no matter where it's on at the field, it could be backed up. We're talking like the 30-yard line on the Bears' side of things. They're not going to kick it. Or if there's 70 yards to go for a touchdown, they're not going to not go for it on fourth down. It just, especially in short yardage situations. Number 2, the Bears cannot not pressure Caleb Williams. They have to somehow get pressure on Caleb Williams. Granted, Caleb Williams out of the pocket, not exactly great in terms of the Packers scenarios. He's pretty good out of the pocket. He's had some unbelievable throws, unbelievable catches, and just gets it done on the scramble. Yet, we have to know if we don't pressure him, that's going to be a problem. I hope to God, Josh, we see other schemes, other things, surprises that we don't know we have in our pocket. And at the end of the day, though, if we don't put pressure on Caleb Williams somehow, post Micah Parsons, it's going to be rough. Number 1, this is no surprise. The Bears still lead the NFL in turnovers. The Bears have 30. The Jaguars have 26. The Steelers have 24. We cannot turn the ball over. We can't.
Yeah.
Why? Because if we don't win the turnover battle, based on the Bears being very good at taking the ball away, and the Packers just haven't been. And so maybe the point here is we can't not take the ball away, and we can't turn the ball over. We're going to have a special teams turnover in this game. We're going to have to
win the turnover battle. I mean, plain and simple, right? It's not just not turning the ball over. It's you have to win that battle. You have to make sure that you have 1 and they have 0. Because remember, Jordan Love throws that interception in round 1 against the Bears, but you had Micah Parsons and this defense stepped up and they made it for nothing, right? They made that work. You don't have him anymore. Razor thin room for error. Cannot have that.
So, Josh, it is prediction time. It is time to make our predictions before we get to our guy, Andy Herman from the Pack-A-Day podcast coming up at 8:20. But first, how do we think this is going to play out, Josh?
Okay. Based on, I was really hoping before I had to do this, I'd have some answers from Matt LaFleur on who was going to be in there. Anything. I don't have that. So,
by the way, I think I messed up earlier. I forget that today is Saturday on their schedule and tomorrow is Sunday. They don't talk on Saturdays. So the most that we got out of Matt LaFleur is everything we got out of him yesterday.
Yeah, that was it. It's done. I'm getting nothing else.
That was wishful thinking.
In my head, I'm stuck at it being 27-27, but it's not going to be a tie. So one team's going to win. And I think that, unfortunately, that's where I'm going. It's going to be the Bears 34 and the Packers 27. And it's going to be super duper close. And then one of those things that couldn't happen. And
which one?
My gut is saying it's Matt LaFleur being aggressive in the wrong time.
Isn't that funny? We want him to be aggressive, yet not at the times where it wouldn't be a good idea to be aggressive.
I know. And it's just, I don't want it to be that way. I'm just like, of everything. I think that the defense doesn't completely let this game go. I think that they do step up. I think that they do enough to keep it close. They've kept the games close all season long. I don't think that changes in this one. I also don't think that the Bears blow the Packers out and show the whole world, see, this Packers team was nothing without Micah Parsons. But I do think that this is just the first sign to this team and to everyone else, just how there is no room for error. And they won't be able to make back any mistake that happens in this game.
There may have been a game this season where we did have a lot of errors from the Packers that we were able to still come out with a victory, but they are, if any, few and far between. None that I can remember. And that's, Josh, that's been your point all season.
Against the Bears. That was one of the first times. We said we can't turn the ball over, and then Jordan Love threw a pick in the first quarter. I mean, that and yet that could have been the mistake of, we just said we can't do that. Yeah. They take the ball away more than any other team. And the defense made up for it. And they came away in a close game, and they won that game. You don't have that luxury anymore.
The predictions are starting to come in on the Nicolay Law Fan Talk and Text line. 414-677-1250. What is your prediction? Feel free to call us, too, by the way. You don't just have to text. You can ring the old telephone, We'll take your call and hear your prediction. Mine is simple. If the Packers score more than 27 points, the Packers will win. Meaning if they score 27 or more, they'll win. If the Bears score more than 27 points, the Bears will win.
So the fact that I said 27-27 is pretty good.
Very simple. Look at the rest of the season. If the Packers can come out and actually score, the Packers have won these games. Granted, tied against the Cowboys. And if we can hold them under 27, I think the defense showed us something that is going to help us win the game. I think the final score in this game is going to be Packers 27, Bears 26.
How does it get there?
26. There has to be a special teams and or defensive touchdown. I don't think we've seen one all year.
We haven't. But wow.
Punt return, kick return,
Hell
a pick
no.
six,
Maybe.
a picked up fumble, run back for a touchdown. Our defense and or special teams haven't scored at all this year. If I'm wrong, tell me. But to my knowledge,
I don't think you're wrong.
I don't think there's been a score from that squad, and we need one. This is going to be the game where we are dependent on a takeaway or special teams touchdown. If we get that, and we get to 27, because our run game just is not as good as it needs to be right now. Josh Jacobs is banged up. Remember, I think he had something like 68 yards rushing last weekend, and one of those was a 40-yard rush.
Yep.
So he did not have the greatest game. We know that we can't necessarily depend on him for as many rush attempts as we have been able to the rest of the season. And so we're going to need to pass the ball more. So a couple 2-3 passing touchdowns, a couple field goals, and if we can't get the run game going, we're going to have to score on defense or special teams. So somehow that adds up to 27, like it has the rest of the season. And if we can keep, now this sounds stupid. Well, of course, if the Bears score less than 27, then they're going to win the ball game. Yeah, I know. And my point is we can't let the Bears offense go wild. Maybe that's my biggest fear, is that the Bears offense may very well go wild this weekend. And that's going to be a problem because unfortunately that may forecast what the rest of the season is going to be like.
So I just need to clarify, because you said that if the Packers score more than 27, and then you said the first team to 27. So is it more than 27?
No. I'm saying if the
27?
Bears score more than 27 points, the Packers will lose.
Okay.
I don't think that the Packers have the ability this weekend to score as many points as something like 34 or 40 or something along those lines.
Interesting.
If they somehow do, they win. No problem. The Packers absolutely win. But I think if we don't hold the Bears to under 27 points based on where the Packers offense is and where the Packers defense is in terms of the pressure, then the Packers are going to lose. So Packers 27, Bears 26. We will get to your predictions plus chat with our guy, Andy Herman. When we come back, the Pack-A-Day podcast will get his prediction and his keys to the game as well. The guy knows more about the statistics of football than I even know exist. We'll get Andy Herman next. We are Inside Wisconsin Sports with Trevor and Josh, live from the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Inside Wisconsin Sports with Trevor and Josh. Live from the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Live on YouTube and live on Twitter as well. And you'll want to join us there if you want to see our guy, Andy Herman from the Pack-A-Day podcast. Joining us now on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network guest hotline, powered by Gruber Law. Andy, it's prediction time, but first, a little curveball. What are the 5 things that either the Packers have to do or can't do in order for this team to win this game? Because it feels like it's that much on the edge.
5 things? We're going 5 things. All right. 5 things that the Packers must do. All right. So they've got to be able to stop the run in some capacity. That's number one. They've, especially Evan Williams' injury. I know we're all talking Micah for good reason, but Evan Williams' injury potentially in this game is pretty massive as well. Evan's been phenomenal at filling the run from that deep safety position. So that's definitely number one.
Okay, pause for a second. We're going to hold ourselves accountable, Josh, to whether we got these. So we got that one, I believe. Did we not?
Yes. And also, Andy, just for me, make that number 5. Go 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay.
All
okay.
right.
Thank you, but I like it. Go ahead.
Number 2 and number 3 are the respective pass rushes for both sides. So I think if you look at the Bears' Achilles heel so far in the season, it's been their pass rush on their side of the ball. Zach Tom potentially opens up a weak spot for the Packers offense. So I'm really keeping an eye on that Bears pass rush to see if they can get him. They got him a bunch last week against Cleveland, but Shedeur Sanders holds the ball for about 1.5 million years. So that's it's a little bit different facing Jordan Love.
Do we know Tom is out for sure?
No, I'm just saying if he is out, that would certainly be a potential weakness.
Well, Coach told us yesterday that, there's going to be a guy or two out.
Yeah. So we'll see. My assumption is that Tom's not going to play in this one, but I have no inside information on that or anything. And then the opposite side is, again, the pass rush for the Packers, which struggled to get home against Chicago with Micah Parsons. And now obviously does not have Micah Parsons. It's a really good Bears offensive line. And they're going to, I think, struggle to find some sort of way to get to the quarterback, obviously, without Micah. So that's going to be the number 3. Number 4 is going to be containing Caleb Williams and making sure that he doesn't escape the pocket quite as easily. I thought he escaped the pocket far too easily in this last game. They allowed him to get outside on a lot of bootlegs, rollouts, etc. So they've got to do a much better job of that, which again gets exponentially harder when you don't have Micah Parsons to help contain one of those edges as well. And then the last thing for me is which team sort of dictates the way that they want to play in this game. So Chicago, we kind of talked about it. Maybe it's cheating. I'm doubling up a little bit, but Chicago, of course, we know wants to run the football. Green Bay is going to have to make sure that they contain that. Meanwhile, Green Bay, we know that they want to hit those explosive plays, and they were able to do so against Chicago in that game in Green Bay. And so, whether they have Christian or not, Jaden Reed, Matthew Golden, etc., they're going to have to hit a few of those explosive plays against Chicago. Again, if Chicago can eliminate or mitigate those explosive plays and that playmaking ability, I think that's going to be huge for them. So if I remember correctly, we've got pass rush on both sides. We've got containing Caleb Williams. We've got stopping the Bears run game, and then who dictates terms in this game.
Okay, got it. Now here's the main question. Are we going to do that?
Yeah, now that you said all that, they're going to do that?
I mean, how do you think this is going to go, man?
Well, all right. You want good news or bad news first?
Bad news first, always. Bad news first, always.
See, I'm more optimistic. I was going to say good news first.
Are you? All
right, who has seniority? Who has superiority between the two?
We usually do this.
Yeah.
Here we go. Yeah. Rock, paper, scissors. 1, 2, 3, shoot.
I am 3 for 3 against you.
So we're going positive today first.
Yeah.
The good news is that when the Packers and Matt LaFleur have been in these situations where all odds have been against them, when all of a sudden Jordan Love goes out in week 1 and you've got to have Malik Willis, who you've only had for a week and a half, come in and play. He's done extremely well. It almost feels like he ramps up. It almost feels like that's one of his superpowers, is becoming more creative when things are kind of against him. So I think there's a really good sign there that in these type of games, you know, the Ben Johnson thing already, that he's going to come out and probably be a little bit extra creative and find a way to win these exact sort of scenarios. That's the good news. The bad news is not just for this game, it's for moving forward as well. And I thought it was very evident in this game against Denver as well. Where do we always say that games are won and lost, guys? in the trenches.
Mhm.
And right now,
Okay. I didn't want to be wrong there.
Yeah, I know.
I was like,
that's what I was going to say, but I don't know. Is it something else? I don't know.
No, Green Bay right now, Green Bay's offensive line is not playing well enough on their side of the ball. We saw that very much against Denver. Early on when they were balanced, it was fine, but Aaron Banks really struggled in that game. You can tell Anthony Belton is still a work in progress. Rasheed Walker's having a really tough season. Sean Ryan's been fine at center, but that's about the gist of what you're getting. And again, Zach Tom may be out for this game. And if that's the case, Darian Kennard is a below average starter as well in this situation. So the offensive line for Green Bay is a problem. Even with Zach Tom, there's still, in my opinion, too many weaknesses on that O-line. And then on the defensive line, I don't know how you get there with 4 guys. Rashawn Gary hasn't had a sack or a tackle for loss in 7 weeks, has been constantly talked about this week. I thought Enigbari struggled a little bit in this last game. LVN did not look like he's ready to be a consistent pass rusher in any way, shape, or form. Their best defensive tackle pass rusher is out for the season as well, in Devontae Wyatt. Carl Brooks will generate pressure for you every once in a while. Colby Wooden's not a pass rusher. Jordan Riley's not a pass rusher. Nasir Stackhouse, Quentin Bohanna, any of those guys are not pass rushers. So you're just behind the 8 ball when it comes to your best possible get there with 4 is Carl Brooks and LVN on the inside with Enigbari and Gary on the outside. And against the Bears in particular, they're going to say their 5 offensive linemen, bring it. We can protect with our 5 guys all day against your 4. And even if one of your guys does happen to get through and get home, Caleb's just going to run around them anyway. So we don't have to keep a tight end in to chip. We don't have to keep a running back in to chip. We don't have to do any of that. We can get all 5 of our guys out in the route, which is going to make things more complicated for your secondary as well. So the good news is, again, Matt and company have responded really well to these challenges. The bad news is games are won and lost in the trenches, and I don't trust the trenches on either side for Green Bay in this game or really moving forward.
I feel like that bad news was worse than the good news was good, but
a lot of bad news.
Yeah. All right. Well, fantastic. Thanks, Andy.
You're welcome.
Talk to you Monday.
let's maybe we should talk about something more uplifting. Let's talk about the Milwaukee Bucks. I'm just kidding.
No.
Not doing it.
Stop.
Thanks, bud.
Stop that. All right. One of the things that I've been trying to focus on is the aggressiveness of Matt LaFleur, because against the Lions and against the Bears in round 1, we saw that it paid off. It was good. It showed what this offense could do. It's a lot easier to be aggressive when you have a Christian Watson on the field and you can take those deep shots and have them pan out and spread their defense, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Obviously, we're not sure if that's going to be the case. And if Christian Watson does play in this game, you definitely don't think he's going to be playing a lot. Do you think that Matt LaFleur keeps some of that aggressiveness, or do you think that the clock kind of struck midnight in that when everything fell apart in Denver, and we're going to see Matt LaFleur kind of go back to being more conservative in the play calling and the decision-making in this game against the Bears?
No, I think if anything, he's probably going to have to get more aggressive, because I don't think he probably feels like he can just play, a conservative on offense and expect his defense to, kind of carry him in those situations where they don't pick up points or they are taking a lot of, time off the clock. I think this team is going to have to play a lot more aggressive on both sides of the ball. I think there's going to have to be a dynamic, change overall on defense. If you're going to play a bend but don't break style of defense without Micah Parsons, it's just going to be a break and also break style of defense. You're just going to be giving up points and long drives, and it's not going to be advantageous for anyone. You've already struggled to get turnovers with that style of play. I think they're going to have to really ramp things up, bring more pressure, be more aggressive, probably give up some more points, but in the exchange, in the trade, hopefully get more turnovers and maybe a couple more, second and third and long situations from getting a sack on early downs or things like that can help get you off the field. So I think they're going to have to be more aggressive. And I think because you're probably expecting some more points for the opposing team, you're going to have to be more aggressive on offense. This is going to have to be a Jordan Love led team. This is going to have to be a team that puts up enough points, week in and week out. I don't think that they're going to have it specifically to hold teams, under 20, under 23 consistently. So if I'm Matt, I'm being more aggressive on offense, and I'm telling Jeff, I need you to be more aggressive on defense.
Well, Positive Pete over here is not doing well with this conversation. I can tell you that much. So, okay, hold on. Did the injuries just finally catch up with the Packers? Because this isn't what we thought was going to be the take a couple weeks ago. We felt pretty good about this Packers team, but last week in Denver, I mean, the wheels fell off. I get that. So, are we to the point, Andy, where we're just not going to be able to recover from these injuries? And I'm not just talking about Micah Parsons, obviously Zach Tom, Evan Williams, Christian Watson, although Matthew Golden said his wrist is good. So are we just at a point of no return?
I've talked about this probably a little bit too much on my show this week, but the season in general, you're going to end up with about 8 to 10 guys that end up on injured reserve throughout the course of the season. And it's just one big injury roulette wheel. And your first injury, you get, you're spinning it. And and you're just hoping to come up, no whammy, no whammy, no whammy. And the first one was Tucker Kraft. And that's a huge one, right? You lose. And then the second one comes up and it's Devontae Wyatt. And then the third one comes up and it's Elton Jenkins. And then no disrespect to Nick Niemann, but the fourth one, you're like, all right, we can survive Nick Niemann. And then, there's obviously there's guys like Marshawn Lloyd, along the way. There's John Williams along the way, but then you come up with Micah Parsons. And at the end of the day, if you were trying to make a Super Bowl run and you had Elton Jenkins, Devontae Wyatt, Tucker Kraft, Micah Parsons all healthy, it's hard enough in and of itself when that's the case. And now when you have and especially again, Micah, Tucker, I mean, those are arguably, Jordan's the most important player, but like Tucker's arguably playing better than anybody on offense. And Micah's, playing arguably better than, other than maybe 2 to 3 players in the league. He's playing better than. So you're just talking about massive injuries that are force multipliers that affect the rest of your team. And then in a game like this, I mean, you're talking about potentially missing not only those 4 guys, but Zach Tom, we still don't even know. I think we all feel like Josh Jacobs is going to play, but there seems to be more concern this week than other weeks as to whether or not he's going to play and maybe how much he's going to be able to play. You're just talking Evan Williams. You're talking about 7, 8 of your top 10 to 12 guys on your team that are potentially out for a game like this. That's a really difficult situation to navigate. And the fact that Green Bay is basically either still favored or even money on the road in Chicago against a team that is currently leading the division at number 2 in the NFC, despite all those injuries, because of the depth that they have, is really impressive. But they're going to have to go out and show it. And I think they can beat anybody in this league. I think even with where they're at right now, from an injury standpoint, I think they can beat absolutely anybody. But I think the question, and where I think there's maybe more cause for concern, is can you go on a 4-game win streak against the NFL's best without, guys like Micah Parsons, Elton Jenkins, Tucker Kraft, and Devontae Wyatt. And again, some of these other injuries are going to pop up. Plus you have 3 more weeks where you have to survive potentially additional injuries that come up over these 3 weeks. So yes, it's a long story short, I do think injuries are just playing so much of a factor where it may not sap them of being able to beat any given team, but Super Bowl equity goes down extremely because you don't have your key guys in key moments to try to make a big run at the end of the year.
Trevor said it earlier in the show, and I don't think we got to it here, but is there any solution or reason or equation that leads to this not being the last time the Packers and Bears face each other this season?
Sorry, maybe I'm misunderstanding the question.
The in some way, shape, or form, they're playing each other in the playoffs, right?
Sorry, yes.
It's going to be either in Chicago or in Green Bay. Essentially, that's what this game is deciding, no?
Unless one of them doesn't make the playoffs, which is still a possibility. So Detroit still lingers for both of these teams. And, if either of these teams lose out, which for Green Bay, it's less likely. But Chicago, if all of a sudden they lose to Green Bay this week, they've got San Francisco next week, which is no easy game. San Francisco probably favored in that game. And if Detroit wins their games, which they're favored against Pittsburgh, I forget who they have next week, but they have then Chicago in that final game. And Detroit, Chicago absolutely could be basically a play-in game for that 7 spot if that would go that way. So there are situations in which it could happen, but the most likely scenario is that this is the 2 seed and the 7 seed, and it's ultimately deciding who's at home and who's on the road. But there's definitely a couple variables there.
Josh gave his prediction a few minutes ago as we talked to Andy Herman from the Pack-A-Day podcast. Follow him on Twitter at Andy Herman NFL. Josh gave his prediction. Josh, remind us.
I said it's going to be 34-27 Bears.
And I said it's going to be 27-26 Packers. How bad do you think the Packers are going to lose, Andy?
That was my exact score, 27-26 Packers. So we're in simpatico there.
Packers are going to win?
How, after everything you've said in this interview, how do you get there, Andy?
So my head says that the Bears are going to win this game, but my gut and my heart tells me that the Packers are going to win this game. And it just so happens that today.
Why? How do you think, to Josh's point, because I'm really curious to know if you and I agree on something needs to happen in this game. So how do the Packers get to 27, keep the Bears at 26? There's got to be something that happens that you've got in your noodle.
Yeah, I mean, I just think ultimately, Matt's going to have this team right. They're going to put up points. I don't have a huge concern about Green Bay putting up points. I don't think Chicago's pass rush is going to get home. And when Jordan Love isn't pressured, even if you don't have Christian Watson or Tucker Kraft, he's been a stone cold assassin. And I think he'll play very well. Green Bay owns, Chicago in Chicago. And I think, obviously turnovers are going to have to play a factor. They're going to have to probably need a turnover or two and win the turnover battle. But I think that's possible. I think they're due to have a game like that. And I think for, the way that I'm looking at this is, Green Bay gets 3 touchdowns and a couple field goals. I think Chicago is going to score a lot in this one. But I think, at the end of the day, Green Bay holds them to some field goals instead of touchdowns, holds in the red zone a little bit. And again, maybe gets a turnover or two. I think that's the way that you ultimately, find a way to win this game.
Andy, we were talking about this before you joined us. Has there been a special teams and or defensive score for the Packers this year? We can't think of any off the top of our head.
I do not believe so, no.
That's great.
Mm-hmm.
And I think we're going to see one tomorrow.
Okay. I'm in. Sign me up.
Yep. That's what I said. I was like, that sounds great. Big fan of that happening. I'm with you, though. I'd be surprised if it does.
We'll see.
There's a lot of people on the Nicolay Law fan talk and text line texting in their predictions. This prediction, though, is interesting that Emmanuel Wilson will be the difference in this game. And this person says Packers 33, Bears 27. Why is that plausible, Andy?
Well, Jacobs, again, being banged up gives Emmanuel Wilson potentially that Wilson's coming off arguably his worst game of his career. He didn't play a ton, but he missed a block on a screen. He missed a block in pass pro. I thought there were 2 times where he ran the wrong way and had a better hole in a different direction. I didn't think that was a great game from Emmanuel Wilson. He's a good player. He'll bounce back and he'll be better for it. And I do think Green Bay's offensive line can run block against this Bears front. Tremaine Edmonds coming back is a pretty big deal for Chicago's defense and run defense, though. But I don't think it's super likely that, Emmanuel Wilson is the difference in this game, but he could definitely get an opportunity to be that difference maker.
I hope that person is right. I feel like with my score prediction and what I said, it is going to be something that none of us really have on our bingo card, except for maybe Trevor, of something just with him saying the defensive or a special team score. I don't think it's just going to be a straight offense, defense battle that the Packers win. There has to be something that breaks, a highlight play that we're playing on Monday, something that happens in this game that we'll remember for a long time because it's something we haven't seen from this Packers team all season long. I'm hoping that that's the case.
Yeah, I mean, maybe all you need is love, I guess, is maybe the appropriate response. But no, it's going to be a really interesting game. I think it could honestly go either way. And again, there's a lot of reasons to think Chicago. I mean, Roma Dunze, Luther Burden being out, it does give Green Bay, I think, more of a puncher's chance on defense, because I do think you're going to have to bring extra guys, and not having 2 players like that at wide receiver. Zacchaeus is playing well, and DJ Moore is obviously a very talented player. But I do think that gives you a puncher's chance on the outside to cover those guys one-on-one and allow maybe you to bring a few more blitzes and maybe get to Caleb Williams.
Andy, last question. Hypothetically speaking, if you had an agent that worked for you.
Oh, God.
And this agent was having conversations that were creating rumors that were tearing apart your locker room, would you say something to the agent maybe, or are you just going to let it all ride and be who Giannis is currently being?
Yeah, I'll just put it this way. Giannis seemed very upset that there's all of these stories in the media and that it's affecting his teammates and things like that. You can end all of that immediately just by saying, I don't want to be traded. I'm a Milwaukee Buck. Stop with it. I'm not going anywhere. He has the ability to end it. I'm not saying he should. I'm not saying he has every right to be upset with the current status of this team, with how awful they look without him, that he has to do basically everything to save them. I understand if there's a loyalty conversation of how much loyalty the Bucks have shown him, and you're upset because he maybe isn't sure. But in the actual state of the NBA, that's just not how it works. And he has said from day one, his one thing: you stay competitive, I'll stay in Milwaukee forever. You're not competitive, I want to be competitive. He has every right to say, hey, but just be honest about it. That's all you have to do, is just say, yeah, you know what? I'm pretty pissed off about the way that this team is playing right now, and I would like a different situation. If they can show me that they can turn this around, I would love to be a Milwaukee Buck. But yeah, this is the situation that we're in because we're not a winning basketball team right now. But my agent might be saying certain stuff, but I'm certainly not saying anything. But I don't know what my agent is. I couldn't have any possible control over that. I love Giannis to death. He'll be an all-time favorite player of mine no matter what. And again, I don't think he's even necessarily in the wrong here for if he does want out, but that's more diva type behavior in my opinion.
Yahtzee. Boy, we haven't said that much about Giannis. Thanks for the input on that. That was a very Josh Albrecht-y rant right there. We've had a couple of those now.
It's been a show. I'm done.
Good.
Hey, I want to
congratulate
you. You guys made it. Like with Doug Gottlieb coming on every week, he's like, I don't want to do radio anymor. Like he's like, if this is radio now, I don't need to do. And he's done with radio. So congratulations, you influenced. I'm just kidding. But he's obviously doing the GB job full time, which is awesome. And I think they got a big win yesterday, right?
They did. Yeah. UC Santa Barbara.
Yep.
He's still going to do the radio with us, though. He promised us that he'll still do radio with us every Wednesday morning. We'll get to check in with Doug Gottlieb.
Now that's like premium space for you guys, because if you want to hear Doug Gottlieb on the radio now,
it's only here.
That's where you go.
There you go.
Andy Herman, the Pack a Day podcast, optimistic 27-26. We have the exact same prediction. Maybe Josh by the end of the show will flip his. We'll see.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks, Andy. We appreciate you, bud. Talk to you Monday.
Thanks, Andy.
Wisconsin Sports Radio Network guest hotline is powered by Gruber Law. One call, that's all. When we come back, what's up, Wisconsin? What do you have going on this weekend outside of the Packers game, obviously, tomorrow night? And are you like me? Are you stuck? Not stuck. I want to be there. Are you at a Christmas gathering by chance tomorrow night and the game's going to be on? What do you got going on this weekend? We'll go from there. Plus, the Brat Bowl is upon us in a mere 17 minutes. With Ziegler Subaru of Kenosha and Brat Bowl 3 at the world-famous Brat Stop. We'll be back in a moment. More predictions from you, Nicolay Law Fan Talking Text Line, 414-677-1250. It's Inside Wisconsin Sports, live from the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook.
Trevor and Josh want to know.
What's up?
What's up, Wisconsin?
What's up?
What's your plan for the day?
What's up?
What are you doing tonight?
What's up?
Let us know what's up on Inside Wisconsin Sports with Trevor and Josh.
The Nicolay Law Fan Talking text line, 414-677-1250. Let us know what's up, Wisconsin. What's up in a matter of minutes. Brat Bowl 3 today starting at 9 a.m. Ziegler Subaru of Kenosha presents Brat Bowl 3 at the world-famous Brat Stop in Kenosha. An all-day live event today going on starting at 9 a.m. until 5 p.m. Our friends/foes from 670 The Score and us here at the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network, featuring all your favorite on-air talent, will be there. Plus, we're asking you, if you do stop out, to bring your new or gently used coats to donate to Ziegler Subaru of Kenosha's annual coat drive. Brat Bowl 3 today, 9 a.m. That's literally less than 10 minutes from now at the iconic Brat Stop in Kenosha. Brought to you by Ziegler Subaru of Kenosha. For a great experience, visit ZieglerKenoshaSubaru.com and by Siding Unlimited, visiting SidingUnlimited.com for their honest price guarantee. Also a reminder, Wisconsin, if you missed any part of today's show or this week's shows, you can listen anytime on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. Just search Inside Wisconsin Sports on your favorite app, hit the follow button, and you can catch up on every episode, every hour, every highlight, whenever it works for you. Josh, what are you doing this weekend? What's up in your Wisconsin?
Oh, boy. Well, let's start just today. So, first of all, it's Friday. Every Friday, we go to Natty O's. We're getting a big old bowl of chili.
Nice.
Been waiting all week. With it being a little bit warmer yesterday, I was like, oh, this doesn't, it's not going to hit as well. Got nice and cold again. So chili's going to feel great. And then I'm going to make my way down to the Brat Bowl. Brat Bowl 3, I got to find a way to trade Rami to 670 The Score. See what we can get for him.
No Malort, please.
No, Malort won't be what we're trading. I need better offers than that for Rami. But I have a Bears fan on my roster, and I'm just looking. I'm seeing what's out there. I'm exploring options for Rami. So if anyone is going down there, you want to say hi, I'll be down to say hi at Brat Bowl 3. And then I have to, beyond work and everything else, I have to take care of the kids. It's a Viking weekend, as they say. No misses in the house. It's all the boys. Julie getting out of town with her sister for a little mom's getaway. And so it's just me and the boys this weekend. So it'd be nice and smelly in the house.
We used to call that man camp.
Yeah.
Man camp. When mom's out of town, we ate pizza on the floor and sat around in our underwear.
Oh, yeah, you bet. That's what's happening.
Camp.
You bet.
Love it. We have the Pink Flamingo Christmas party tomorrow night. We have a night off tonight, which usually means I end up at Mac's Pub and Grill somehow until midnight, and I have to sleep in until like 9 tomorrow morning, and that just starts the weekend off wrong, but probably going to happen. And then tomorrow night, the Pink Flamingo Christmas party, the nonprofit that I am just one of so many people that puts on numerous events throughout the year to help raise money for the community. We all get together as our own community and celebrate Christmas together. So that's tomorrow night, which means that's where I'm watching the Packer game.
I was going to say, you were now, this started the show of you saying you were excited now that the game is going to be on Saturday night, when all week you'd been saying that you didn't like that, even beyond this week, because you were going to be at this Christmas party.
I just don't like the fact that I'm probably going to have to watch it back on Sunday.
That is very pessimistic of you. Maybe you'll love to watch the game back on Sunday because it's such a great game. You want to watch it again.
Nothing about me wants to rewatch the Packers game on Sunday. I don't care how the game. Just perspectively. I just want to watch it once and then worry about the rest after that. But I don't have the ability to focus on more than one thing at one time. And if I'm going to be at a get-together with a bunch of my favorite people and the Packer game's on, I'll give you one guess where the majority of my attention will be.
The shiniest thing in the room.
On the people. Yep. There's going to be a buffet of food and drinks and laughs and probably games. And last year we sang a song. And, the Packer game's going on. Yeah. God, I hope you don't ever find that song.
I listen, I need someone to record that and send that to me. It happens tomorrow.
Plus, Sunday, I have a reminder on my calendar, and I think you'd appreciate this, knowing that you and I have this in common. Me and the procrastination when it comes to the X's and O's and the details is just at a different level at this stage of my life. And I have a reminder on my calendar, and it reads this: bro, you have to do your end of year accounting. Like, I have kicked this can.
That is you, like, literally pleading with yourself.
Bro, capital letter. Bro,
come on.
You have to do the end of year books.
It's time.
All right. And that's our show. And tomorrow night, the Packers and the Bears hopefully will put on a show. Our thanks to Vonnie Holiday for joining us on today's show, and our guy, Andy Herman. We're inside Wisconsin Sports with Trevor and Josh, live from the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. See you Monday.
Because we're not done yet.